what we're watching, what we're seeing in the response to Trump's cabinet picks it's nuts. It's irrational on every level. Like me thinking I can grow out my hair and it's all going to look fine. I'm looking at myself right now. It does not look fine. Tony Katz today. What's going on, everybody? 833 got Tony. 833-468 8669 833 got Tony. That's how you get to be a part of the program. This is not about whether or not you're down with every cabinet pick. I'm not. I have been clear about it, and I am not about to change. I say no to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and I think that Tulsi Gabbard, I think this is going to be a question of real questions. I know that everybody's talking about, look at what Nikki Haley is doing, asking about Tulsi Gabbard, reminding everybody of the kind of person that Tulsi Gabbard is. First of all, Nikki Haley, not dumb. Secondly, there are real issues with Nikki Haley, with Tulsi Gabbard. And she does indeed have a past that leads to real legitimate questions. There's nothing wrong with asking them. And what we've said here is that there's no doubt that the members of the Senate, I think, are going to ask very intense questions of Tulsi. She was a Democrat. She was supportive of Bernie Sanders, which to me is some of the most disqualifying stuff in the universe. What could possibly be more disqualifying than saying Bernie Sanders, that's my guy? She met with Bashar al-Assad in Syria. Certainly there was no reason to do so, and it can be seen as a moment of sympathizing. It can be seen as a very problematic, very issuematic moment. I'm not going to say no to that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree that that's an issue. She can be asked these questions. And if the Trump team thinks she can't be asked the questions, well, they're just kidding themselves. But what I'm talking about is the pure, raw, unadulterated hysteria. The madness that has come to surround these picks, the commentaries about these picks. Van Jones is one of these people. This is a guy who you disagree with, but you think maybe, just possibly, when you hear him, like, maybe he can actually have a normal, honest, decent, rational conversation. And then you're like, oh, no, wait, he can't. He can't. He's there with CNN. Of course he is. And he's answering the question from Jake Tapper about the cabinet, about these cabinet nominations. And he gets himself wrapped up into the same exact nonsense kind of arguments that all the others do. Unable to separate himself from it. I guess he hadn't thought of something better to say. This was Van Jones on CNN just yesterday.
Van, what do you think?
I think it's a big test. I mean, why do we have a Senate? Apparently the president thinks that the Senate is supposed to be a rubber stamp for him. The reason America is strong and great and has been so for 2.5 centuries is because we have those three co-equal branches, and nobody is right all the time. And so you need those senators who have that 6-year cushion that we're talking about to be above the fray and to put the country first. And so far, we've seen very little evidence that the Republican Party is going to say, we don't care if Donald Trump has his feelings hurt. We don't want the Department of Justice run by a Fruit Loop Looney Tune dude. Like, at some point, you got to hear some Republicans actually say.
First of all, did Van Jones say feelings and not feelings, or was it an actual legitimate mispronunciation? I think he was going for the very idea of let me see if I can be insulting. But let's get to the follow up here, if we could. What is Looney Tunes? How does that begin to address an issue? Your issue is with Matt Gaetz, the former congressman from Florida. Well, then make that your issue. Make that your issue. Be a grown man who knows how to utilize the English language. Now, listen, I have had my moments before, but not in my professional life. In the start of my professional life, and it's on YouTube, and it's not pretty. Use your words. Use your words. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. The best you can come up with for Matt Gaetz is Looney Tunes. Well, then Matt Gaetz gets confirmed. Matt Gaetz gets confirmed, all said, all done. Well, there are these allegations about him. Yes, I've heard about these allegations. And the FBI ended their investigation with no charges. Joe Biden's FBI ended the investigation with no charges because the witness, Joel Greenberg, the former tax collector from Seminole County there in Florida, is totally unreliable. By the way, there are now allegations about Pete Hegseth, who has been nominated for Secretary of Defense. They're ugly. They involve sex and force, which in many circles you would refer to as rape. I cannot confirm nor deny. I have absolutely no idea if it's legitimate. This was on Mediaite, and it's ugly. And this was something that was where money was paid to keep this out of the press, and now it's in the press. And so I'm not 100% sure where people are getting their data from and what it is they believe and they don't believe. But let's go back to Van Jones and this idea of Looney Tunes. Isn't that putting Pete Buttigieg in charge of transportation? A guy who knew nothing about transportation and was a lousy mayor? He was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, not too far from me. He was a lousy mayor and the people said so. That is it. What was the success of Pete Buttigieg? He was gay. I'm sorry, I didn't know this was a debate. I don't think it should be his defining characteristic. Like, I never allowed anybody who was talking about him, if they called in on my morning show or anything else, they like to make fun of his last name and kind of manipulate. I'm like, nope, I am not having any part of that. Thank you. Talk about the guy, talk about policy, talk about what he's done. Let us discuss why it is people were cheering him at the time. It was because he was gay. That's it. Got the job because he was gay. That is it. I don't know why that is shocking, because it cannot be said that he got it because of his knowledge of transportation. If you tell me he got it because he was a fine executive in South Bend, Indiana, I'll disagree with you about being a fine executive, but that would at least be a more acceptable argument than he got it because of his knowledge of transportation. And if you want to discount my conversation regarding his sexual orientation, you're more than welcome to, because I would like to discount my argument regarding sexual orientation. But since the political left is so desperate to check boxes, and since Joe Biden said he would pick a vice president as long as they were a woman of color, why would I not believe he had other boxes checked for cabinet positions so he could show, look how diverse and inclusive I am? He sets up the dominoes. I do love it when people try and come after me, though, for making statements like that. It's a lot of fun. Try your best. Try harder. Won't you please? By the way, there are people who still think that Pete Buttigieg is in the running for 2028. Would you just cut that out? Just stop it already. He's not in the running for 2028. He's never going to be in the running for 2028. Have you met Governor Westmore of Maryland? Pete Buttigieg won't exist. Good gosh. Joe Biden has an undersecretary of Health and Human Services who is a man who claims to be a woman and totally favors the mutilation and quote-unquote transitioning of children and the giving of chemicals to physically alter them for life. What Looney Tunes thing are we talking about here, Van Jones? Maybe if you used your words and discussed your issues with Matt Gaetz, we could have a conversation about it. But you totally put an end to that possibility. And you do it willfully and you do it wantonly. There's no need for that. Be a grown-up, speak in grown-up words. Being a grown-up, like her or not, is Nikki Haley.
Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence. Now, everybody loves that she is now saying she's a Republican. But I have always said, let's look at what they've said, what their actions are. DNI, that is the president's top intelligence advisor. It's supposed to fairly represent the views of 18 separate intelligence agencies and units. It has the authority over a $100 billion annual U.S. spy budget. A $100 billion U.S. annual spy budget. And it holds sway over which secrets we declassify. That's a big deal. This is a job for an honest broker without any pronounced policy biases.
That is the start of a breakdown of a conversation, of a presentation of a conversation. Here's what DNI does, and now here's my issue with Tulsi Gabbard doing it. That's how a grown-up does it. You don't have to like Nikki Haley. It means zero to me whether you like her or not. I'm discussing the difference. This is what CNN is sharing with their audience. Looney Tunes? Can we just set the marker now that when the MSNBC gets to the auction block, no, there are no buyers. It's going to be bought for $50 and a lollipop. That's going to be the total amount of cash. That's going to be the total amount of cash. People are commenting to me, Tulsi is a veteran who can do the job. Tulsi is a veteran. And I wish she had come over to the Republican Party years ago, said so on air, always drove me crazy that she wasn't. But she's going to get asked tough questions. Support of Bashar al-Assad? Support of Bernie Sanders? What kind of policies? Where are you on this policy, on that policy? Not a question of whether or not you have an allegiance to the United States. All this talk of her, well, she's a puppet of Russia. She's a Russian agent. Can we stop? Can we be serious, people, for 5 minutes? That's not true. No part of that is true. I certainly don't believe it. But what is her view of American strength and security? These are legitimate questions that grown-ups should ask. Grown-ups need to ask that of Tulsi Gabbard, and they need to ask it of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. To Van Jones' point of you got to be able to ask the tough questions and be tough, I wholeheartedly agree. To decide because Van Jones has labeled someone loony, they shouldn't be allowed in the cabinet is ridiculous. Look at who this Biden administration allows around them. An administration that allows Rachel Levine and Sam Brinton, sorry, that is not an administration focused in reality. I'm not saying those men can't live their lives. I am not saying they can't be the people they choose to be. But Sam Brinton, you put in charge of a nuclear waste response. He was stealing luggage off of carousels, and you didn't fire him right away. Off of airport carousels. And Rachel Levine, who believes wholeheartedly in children being allowed to harm themselves. These are people who are absolutely out of their heads and shouldn't be anywhere around leadership, and Biden leaves them in. Biden never fired a Secret Service director even after the former president got shot. Biden oversees a FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, that may very well have policies to say avoid these kinds of houses with these kinds of politics. Ask hard questions. Do that. Don't stop doing that. But if the left is going to couch things in the phraseology of Looney Tunes, the Senate should just approve everyone. Just approve them all. And do it quick. I prefer the grown-up way, but what can I say? I'm old school. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Guys, we will be right back. All right, I'll just bring it back. So first of all, good to be with you. Tony Katz, an absolute pleasure. So here's what we did. We moved the camera angle around. Reconfigured. Got the TK sign behind me. I could replace that. I just feel like the camera, right, needs to come down a little bit, doesn't it? Is that again with the I'm going to end up shaving my head. I know it. And then last night, the lighting was terrible. And now the lighting's just too washed out. I'm like, what is going on here? I don't know. I don't know what the story is. I'm going to do that. Yeah, because it's a little washed out, right? Producer Landon, how much time do I have? All right. Here, enjoy my empty chair for a second. Just enjoy this. No. See, now I turned off the studio lights, the main lights, and all right, maybe that'll do it. Now I'm totally washed out. Oh, let me see. This. Better. Hold on a second. Nah. Oh, good Lord. Like I'm in a horror film with this. I don't know what made it do that. But I got to bring that down. Just a little bit. I'll do that coming up. Meanwhile, we'll get back to the show. Thank you for being my technical advisors. So according to members of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, the chairman, Gary Peters, saying that Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and the FBI Director Christopher Wray are refusing to appear in front of the committee. Tony Katz today, good to be with you. That is a story. According to the reports, it is in contradiction to 15 years of tradition. Now, maybe it's because both of them would have to answer real questions, maybe hard questions about what's going on the border, what's going on with national security. I'm going to get to a national security story coming up, but here it is. Committee Chairman Gary Peters said Mayorkas and Wray's refusal to appear is a shocking departure from the 15-year tradition of holding the annual hearing on worldwide threats. The statement to Fox News Digital, the FBI argued that Wray and other officials have already testified extensively in public about threats facing the United States. The Bureau has repeatedly demonstrated our commitment to responding to congressional oversight and being transparent with the American people. A DHS spokesperson offered a similar explanation, noting that DHS would prefer a classified briefing, saying Mayorkas has testified 30 times during his tenure. I did not know that you could say to Congress, we've said enough, and we don't want to say anymore. I didn't know that. I had no idea that you could look at Congress and say, testify.
Okay, people, move along. There's nothing to see here.
I had no clue that was even possible. But it turns out it is. Turns out it really, really is. I do agree with one thing. There is nothing new that they will learn. Mayorkas and Wray are not in the business of answering questions. They're not in the business of actually telling you which end is up. They're not in the business of leveling with you. Alejandro Mayorkas told you that everything on the border is completely and totally fine. No problems, no issues. Everything's great. Oh, did someone say there's an issue? Well, they're a liar. That's how it's been handled. That's how it's been dealt with and how it's been discussed. And I don't think Wray would do you any better. So maybe we should be thankful. Maybe we should be thankful they've got nothing to offer, nothing to say, and they're not bringing forward any more information. Maybe there's something to hide. Also, meanwhile, this Jay Leno story is nuts, and so is this New York Stock Exchange story. Those are next. I'm Tony Katz. Cut it. Got it right in there. Guys, I'm going to adjust some angles real quick. Stay there. We've got a lot more show to get to. I ain't giving up just yet. right, guys, we're going to bring this back. My gosh, we got a lot of weird stuff going on. It is breaking all over the place that Matt Gaetz has decided to withdraw. This is breaking in repeated places now. Everywhere. I've got both my producer. I've got my producer on it. I've got other people on it. That this is happening. That Matt Gaetz, according to sources, is going to withdraw his nomination. Now, the question before us is, what got him there? What got him to this place that he is going to withdraw? The allegations are true. That's going to be the question. That's going to be the big question. And we will get to it when we get back to the radio show. Now you see I put the backlight on and now it looks all weird, right? Should do that. See, that looks better. No, that looks odd. Maybe I got to do that. Let's put this down here. Send me that, please, Landon. Okay. Unbelievable. And then, of course, we get into the conversation of what a mistake. What an absolute mistake it is. Did Gaetz actually put that out himself? I don't see it. You sent it. Okay. Matt Gaetz withdrawing from consideration. The news just breaking. Tony Katz today. Ho, 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 ho. The word you're looking for is unforced error. 833-468-8669, 833 got Tony. That's the number. Here is the tweet from Matt Gaetz himself. I had excellent meetings with senators yesterday. I appreciate their thoughtful feedback and the incredible support of so many. While the momentum was strong, it is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition. There is no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I'll be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. Trump's DOJ must be in place and ready on day one. I remain fully committed, writes Matt Gaetz, former congressman from Florida, to see that Donald J. Trump is the most successful president in history. I will forever be honored that President Trump nominated me to lead the Department of Justice, and I am certain he will save America. Okay, there's a lot to discuss here. There's a lot to get into here. Let's start with a basic. Why in the world nominate somebody that was going to give you this much heartache? You knew it was a problem. You knew it was an issue. You knew he was an issue. You knew these allegations were there. Now, as we've discussed these allegations, which is about sex with an underage girl, these allegations were nothing more than that. They were investigated allegations. And the FBI came back with nothing, no charges whatsoever. They did not charge him with any wrongdoing. It is believed that the House ethics report, which was, they made clear they would not be releasing, that got stated just this morning, that it's possible that the House ethics report was going to say that, yes, there's an issue with Matt Gaetz, but relied on the testimony of this guy named Joel Greenberg, who's the former tax collector from Seminole County, Florida. Well, that's the testimony that the FBI said was unreliable. You could not trust it. You could not use it. You couldn't verify anything that he said. So now it would have been a did he or didn't he? Maybe. And you would have had it, you would have had him confirmed. Probably. So something came up. Something happened. Something came to be. And if you tell me, Matt Gaetz, that senators were all about this and all with you, with all due respect, you aren't telling me the whole story. You can't be telling me the whole story. If you're telling me the whole story, well then you're confirmed. Except you're not. So now you're led to believe only that there is another shoe to drop. That somewhere out there is another part to this story. And that part of the story ends everything. Why in the world, then, did Donald Trump nominate him? Well, this is where we get into conspiracy theories. I already have people texting me. I called it. I love you all so very, very much. There's always the possibility of a conspiracy theory. Right? That's not really conspiracy music. That's not what that was. Usually I have conspiracy music. There's always a possibility of some, some deep conspiracy. That's not it. That is okay. Did Donald Trump nominate Matt Gaetz so Matt Gaetz could resign from Congress before the report came out, so it wouldn't damage him and wouldn't damage Republicans, and they could get a new congressman from Florida put in before the session starts on January 3rd when the new members are seated? Sure. It's possible. Donald Trump is totally willing to embarrass himself for that possibility. I get it. No, 1,000%. Yeah, I got a hard time with that one. I do. I got a hard time with that possibility. Is it possible? Is it possible that Trump owed Gaetz, and by doing this, satisfied some level of promise to him and did a favor to Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, because Johnson wanted this guy gone? I'll nominate him, and then, I'll make the pitch to all the senators. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. My pitch will be, guys, I'm gonna pretend like I'm making a pitch. Don't worry about it. Just smile at him and say, hey, nice hair. That's all you got to do. Ask him who his plastic surgeon is. That's it. I'm here to tell you, I don't know if I buy into any of it. I would more chalk this up, and this is going to bother the Trump faithful. Trump miscalculated his power. I'll bet money on that. I will put the money on that Trump misunderstood that you can only push people so far. And then they'll remind you, whoa, I'm a senator. They don't take that lightly. You see, I'm a congressman. It gets a little bit of a chuckle. I'm a senator. They take that stuff serious. I've got 6 years. I'll outlast you, kid. So what do you got for me? What makes the deal work for me? What's in it for me? And if the Trump team in MAGA world thought that they could push the Senate around, nope. And what Trump may have discovered in this round robin of phone calls, where maybe he actually was pushing, maybe he was trying to get Matt Gaetz through, was this is way tougher than I thought. This is too tough. My gosh, who in the world? What in the? All right, let's move on to the next guy. Now, the problem is the next guy just got picked to be the ambassador to NATO. Matt Whitaker should be the attorney general. He was the acting AG in the first term. He'd be absolutely fantastic. That guy can bulldog like no one else. He already has the experience because he did it as acting attorney general. There's no question, in my view, about his confirmation. Save something we don't know. Pull that and put him in. Let's go. So now we see that this has been done, that Gaetz has withdrawn his name from consideration. Let's now go with how the overreaction goes. The Democrats say, you see, we told you it was a terrible pick. Now let's go after. What do you mean go after? What? So you weren't serious about Matt Gaetz. You just decided to go after him. And now that he's out, you're going to go after the next person. You just go after people, don't you? Okay, we're not paying attention to you anymore. This is what happens when you don't address things in a cogent way. When Van Jones says Looney Tunes about Matt Gaetz and doesn't address the issues, he's stating that he doesn't care about the issues. He only cares about the destruction of anybody Trump nominates, which would send Republicans into a place of say yes. I was just discussing this before learning about Matt Gaetz withdrawing. Just proves the point. When you're honest, you're able to see around the corners. When you're honest, you're able to discuss what's going on and what's happening. And we are pretty dang honest people. And when we look at this honestly, this should free things up for Pete Hegseth. The allegations about him, we'll certainly see how that goes, but should certainly make his day easier. I think it'll certainly make Tulsi Gabbard's day easier. Now, you could argue, no. Now they're going to focus more on these people. Wait till you see the new AG, and they go back to focusing on that. I think that by doing this and the withdrawal, which I don't believe came from Matt Gaetz being this magnanimous guy, I think the president-elect called him and said, Matt, I tried. Nope. Withdraw. Withdraw or withdraw. I'll withdraw you, man. It's totally your choice. Totally your choice. Whatever you want to do, kitten. But this is happening, and it's happening tomorrow by noon. Get on it. And that was it. That was it. Now Matt Gaetz is not a member of Congress. There's another conspiracy theory about Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is about to be appointed senator. Remember, Marco Rubio's going to state. Matt Gaetz, senator from Florida. Now, that is predicated on the idea that Ron DeSantis would do Trump that level of a favor, because from the stories I hear, there's no love lost between DeSantis and Gaetz. And DeSantis might be gearing himself and setting himself up for a run in 2026. Why would he give it to Gaetz where that could be possibly difficult and ugly in a primary? Give it to somebody who's a loyalist who will serve for 2 years and love being called senator and certainly vote in a good way. And then let's hand it over to my friend Ron, two-term governor, former congressman from Florida. Do I think Matt Gaetz' career is over? No, I think Matt Gaetz is going to end up at the America First Policy Institute or a series of other places. That's what I think is going to happen. But this withdrawal, Democrats are going to take this as a victory and think that they can do this to others. I don't think Trump's in the mood for that at all. We'll find out. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Oh, Crazy stuff. Worst camera angle, though. I'm going to work on that right now. And we're back. Okay. So I have fixed. Well, I think I fixed it all. I think the lighting looks better. I think the shot looks better. My God, did I just get thin? Hold on. I did not. I did not. I don't know. I do not know. What I do know is it's clear. I have delayed on a haircut long enough. No, not this way. This way. You want to go this way, Tony. That just doesn't feel natural. You want to be like in between the two things there, right? That's what you want to be in between, like where that gray area is. And now it's it. Because if you're over here, then you look like you're kind of like blending. It's not right. By the way, that's real. This isn't a green screen. This is legit. So someone explained to me my problem with my shot is that the wall is too close. So you don't really have this opportunity for kind of it to fade into the background and to be more prominent in the shot. But I'd have to put the camera all the way across the studio. It just doesn't work with a radio setup. That's the problem. And when I do TV, it's never this close. When I do TV, I'm back here. And so that works, right? Because now it all kind of makes sense. Although this is gone. It all kind of makes sense. No? Yeah, I think a TV shot, this works. Then they kind of crop a little bit, like right there. Right, you got the TK going. I have a different son. I have the one for you drink smoke. So I don't know. I think we're gonna keep working on it. I don't know why it's so difficult for me. I think it's because I'm doing it at an angle, not straight ahead. It's just the room is not set up for it. I don't know. Just maybe I'm the only one who cares. Maybe that's the problem. And as for everybody who's arguing in the comments about Matt Gaetz and Trump, how about something interesting? That'd be terrific. I would appreciate that greatly. Something interesting would be worthwhile. Thank you so very much. Okay. All right, let's get back to doing a show, which we're going to do in just about 5 seconds. So there was a story yesterday about a boat, a ship, Chinese ship in the Gulf of Finland. And the next thing you know, you've got a natural gas line that has been compromised and telecom cables that have been cut. Tony Katz today. Always good to be with you. And it was like, so the Chinese are now working at the behest of the Russians, or really Russia's a vassal state of China. And they saw the escalation between Ukraine and Russia and the use of long range missiles. And now you've got Russia launching, it seems, ICBMs at Ukraine. Hey, this is a good time for us to help further some havoc. Let's get this done. Well, there's a follow-up to the story that the ship itself was indeed Chinese, but it launched from Russia, and the captain was Russian. And there seems to be no doubt that this was a deliberate act of sabotage. One has to argue clearly orchestrated by Putin to damage this gas line, to damage communications. And I mean, so the ship does this. There's a Danish Navy vessel. Denmark starts following. It's like trying to catch up to this ship and search where they are and track them down, which is kind of amazing in and of itself. I still argue that we are not approaching World War III. That is not happening. And I think that the people who've been pushing that idea, I think are trying to get some clicks. Has Biden made things more tenuous for the world, for Europe, and for Trump incoming? 1,000% and then some. Not even remotely a debate. 1,000% Joe Biden did this. And Joe Biden didn't have to do this. But Joe Biden isn't actually a leader. No leadership has been engaged here. What has been engaged is feelings and nothing else. And I haven't even gotten into the 18 pathetic, ignorant senators who don't think that we should be supportive of Israel having the ability to get weapons from the United States. Ukraine, yes, and Israel, no. That's an interesting story. At least Israel understands that when they destroy Iranian outposts and terrorists, that the world is a step towards safety. Vladimir Zelensky never engages this, honestly. Never engages this at all. And as for Biden, did I just see that Nate Silver wants Biden to resign? Just so Trump has to reprint everything 48? I don't know. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. With that, guys, let me tell you. So we're getting better at this. We get this lighting thing squared away and taken care of. Still a little washed. Maybe it's the monitor, because over on this monitor, whoa, what just happened there? Over on this monitor, it's just fine. I just think on the other monitor, maybe that's it. That looks good, right? That looks clear. I'm just gonna look. This is it. I think I gotta put something behind me. Oh, you know what I have for behind me? Like directly behind me? If I should, where? So I picked these up a few months ago. That's Robert Klein right there. I got that for $5.99. There's Newhart. Mort Saul. And then I have Steve Martin, and I have Red Fox. I've got Richard Pryor. And so I've got the frames coming, and then they're going to go up. And that's what I was going to put over here. That's what I was going to put right there. I thought that would look good. I thought that'd be all right. Guys, you're loved, you're appreciated. I can't thank you enough for joining. I made the change to the let's look at that. Look, this just Need a haircut. I made a change to it. I'm getting used to it. We'll be better at it tomorrow. And we're going to do it again tomorrow. I'll catch you guys then. Take care.